There we go. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to WillND. I'm here with my friend Jeffrey from Only Talk Sports, and we are out here to talk some football tonight. There was an exciting action to happen this week, especially the Saturday night game, which of course I got a good chuckle out of that one. But Jeffrey,
Yeah,
your Hoosiers are still flying high. Your Tide bounced back. It was a good week for you.
absolutely. And
hmm So here to check out some of the games from this past week.
yeah, I mean, you talk about
Mhm.
Alabama, bouncing back and blowing out Missouri, and then Carolina winning as well. That was awesome. Indiana
Mhm.
undefeated. Like a lot of great stuff happened. It was.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the thing when you root for a couple different teams. You're gonna have weeks where some of them lose, but it's not often they all lose. So I mean,
Mhm.
people like at least another team or two. But yeah, it was a great week. I enjoyed it absolutely all in one, and I know you were excited. About,
Mhm.
like you said, that Saturday night game, A&M knocking off the Fighting Brian Kellys. Uh,
Mhm.
that Burger King couldn't get it done.
Mhm.
BK. It was a rough night there. Quarterback changed, everything changed, and yeah, Notre Dame's still looking great. As the season been going along, they're getting back in the playoff picture. So a lot of great stuff for you as well.
Mhm. Well, one game that caught my eye on Wednesday was Liberty losing to Kennesaw State. So no Liberty in the playoff. We won't have another Oregon Liberty massacre, thankfully.
I'm kind of happy about that, Will. That game was Liberty should have never made the college football playoff. Like, I know that they were undefeated, they earned it, whatever, but they were not good enough, man. They were
Mhm.
not enough. SMU would have given them a little bit better of a game, even though
Mhm.
SMU did lose to Boston College in the bowl game. But still, Liberty, I think Chavel's a great coach. I think Cade Salter's a good QB. But last year, they skirted by a lot of teams like
Mhm.
this. Not like they were blowing out these bad teams. They struggled with some really bad teams. Like, I remember they beat like Sam Houston or one team like
Mhm.
in like a one-score game on like a Tuesday night. They were not great, and then this year it finally got them as a 28-point favorite. They
Ooh.
Kennesaw State, and Kennesaw State getting their first win, I believe, as an FBS opponent.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
So yeah, well, you would want a little bit of a better completion percentage out of Salter, but congrats to the Kennesaw State. They're the owl. Yeah, they are the Owls. So congrats to the
Yeah, the
Owls.
Owls. Yeah, and I know Kennesaw State too because it's sad, man. The coach for South Florida basketball, Abdur Rahim, who passed
Yeah.
away, he was also the coach at Kennesaw State in basketball. I remember that.
Mhm.
He did a good job there. Like they were one of the worst programs in basketball, and then he made them pretty good. So
Mhm.
there for Kennesaw State, alums that remember what he did to the basketball team. So that's
Yeah, I
kind of
gave VCU a great fight in the NIT. That was a good game. So
absolutely. All right, before
Mhm.
we got a couple of comments. Jeff says, "I'm here. How goes it? Doing pretty great. Appreciate your being here." We got Jackson as well.
Mhm.
Tiro. I would say it was a win-win for Will. Notre Dame gets some more points and
Mhm.
loses. And then we got Jackson. Appreciate the super chat. Jackson says, "Bama, Indiana in the first round. It happened. That would be great." And
Mhm.
I mean, probably wouldn't win, but you never know. That would be awesome, though. Alabama
Mhm.
would never have thought in a million years last year that
Mhm.
would be feasible. But now with the 12-team playoff in Indiana, that would be awesome. But definitely appreciate the super chat, Jackson. Appreciate it a lot. Jim says, haha, get him. But
Mhm.
absolutely, definitely. Appreciate everybody for being here.
I
Got a
think
great,
that would probably be a shootout, right?
yeah, especially with Indiana with Curtis Rourke being one of the
Mhm.
best in the country, and Alabama's a good offensive team
Mhm.
as well. Even though at times they can struggle, but definitely like Indiana's defense would have to step up and be able to get pressure on
Mhm.
Alabama to have a chance to win. Because I mean, Alabama has way more talent than Indiana, but as we have seen,
I mean, Kane Womack's defenses haven't been great.
no, it hasn't. That would help Indiana's offense feast. And as we've seen, teams with less talent like Vanderbilt can beat a
Mhm.
team like Alabama. It is
Mhm.
it is feasible. It is feasible.
Mhm.
Yeah, Indiana's O line's been great. Those guys need to go. Some of those guys need to go off to the NFL. They are really good.
Mhm. Kyle McCord was not really good on Thursday, man. That was rough for him. I'm still going to say this. If Will Howard had to do what Kyle McCord was doing for Syracuse's offense, I don't think he would be any better.
No, I mean, look how many passes he had in the game. 64. Nobody should be throwing the ball 64 times in a football game. And the thing is, Will, I am so glad I didn't pick Cuse. I almost did. When I did my predictions last week, since we couldn't, do the show last week. I was glad we were able to do it tonight. But yeah, I almost picked Syracuse. I didn't. I went Pitt, and man, 5 picks. It was ugly, but I agree. I mean, how can you really legitimately blame Kyle McCord when, yeah, a better team with Fran Brown, but they got a lot of roster problems. They don't have a Sean Tucker at running back. They just don't. And Syracuse is relying basically everything on him. Again, should not have to be throwing the ball 64 times. And I agree. With Will Howard's there, it wouldn't be any better.
Ashton Genty, not his best game, but they did beat UNLV in a fun game.
UNLV's got a pretty good defense. I mean, they're not a bad team. Obviously, they lost some shine when they lost earlier in the year to Syracuse. I will say, though, that UNLV should have won that game. There was a couple bad calls. I'll leave it at that. There was a couple bad calls in that game that definitely hurt UNLV. But absolutely, when looking at Boise State, not a massively impressive win, if you're a casual fan and not realizing that UNLV is a decent team. But actually, it's not a bad win. I mean, they gutted it out. But Genty, I mean, he put up 128 yards and a touchdown. I mean, for him, that's huge. But still a good game overall. For most running backs, it would be a great game. But he's normal. He's really good. He's been great for years, but he's finally having his breakout moment. But Thomas Hero says, guys,
he has the Ohio State
rating doesn't factor in attempts. Howard is number 2 nationally. McCord is 61st. Is better QB. But would Will Howard be number 2 at Syracuse? No. Will Howard would not be number 2 in passer rating at Syracuse. What do you think his passer rating would be, Will? Do you think it'd be higher than 61?
I think his cap would be 50th. That's probably the best he could be at Syracuse. Maybe better than McCord, but not.
And this is the thing. This is what Ohio State fans have misunderstood. Not saying it like with you, Amasiro, or anyone else, but a lot of Ohio State fans online have not understood when I've said for the last year that Will Howard is better than Kyle McCord. It's just not by a significant amount as people think. He's not that much better than Kyle McCord. He's better, but it's by a slim amount. And I agree with Will. I don't think he'd be any higher than 50 at Syracuse.
Louisville, it looked like they're going to blow it again, but they pulled it out against Boston College in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I was nervous for Austin, man. I thought Louisville was going to lose. I picked Louisville, and I was like, oh, my goodness, they're actually going to lose to Boston College. That would be bad. That would not look good on paper. This BC's been kind of fading a bit, and Louisville needed this win. I mean, I don't really want to say salvage their season. I mean, I don't know what there is to salvage. Obviously, if you lose, you're getting in jeopardy of missing a bowl maybe, or just after last year, making last year kind of look like a fluke, all that kind of stuff that people would say. So it is a big win for the program, but I don't really think many people really care all that much. It just makes people think, yeah, Louisville's they're all right. They're an upper tier ACC team, but they're not great. They're basically like they were last year. I still feel that this team is basically like last year's team. Just the results aren't going their way as much, and they have a slightly harder schedule. And that's why instead of them, having the record they did last year, they're losing more games. Louisville's good. They're a good team, just not.
And USC got off the schneid against Rutgers.
What happened to Rutgers, Will? What happened to Rutgers? 4-0 start. People were saying, oh, with their schedule, kind of like Indiana's being soft, they might go 9-3, 8-4. What happened? They've fallen off. They have fallen off after they beat Washington.
They were lucky to beat Washington, to be honest.
Yeah,
with the Grady Gross miss.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they just got exposed against Nebraska. I don't know, man.
I mean, honestly, I mean they're just falling apart. I mean, they really are. They're not good. I mean, I think Greg Schiano is a good coach, and I know that he's like the only coach that in the modern era that's had success there, but he's not on the hot seat or anything. Like no one's saying that, but I definitely the shine is falling off him this season. People were expecting like, hey, Rutgers, this schedule, this is your chance. Indiana's taking advantage of an easier schedule. Rutgers isn't. I mean, they might still make a bowl game, maybe. I don't know though. They're just not looking very good. The thing is that their offense is just not that great.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit better, I guess, but it's not that great. And then when you look at defense, it feels like they've regressed this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Honestly,
I mean, 32 against UCLA is just that can't happen.
No, like I would have thought they'd have beaten UCLA, held them to like 10, like Indiana did, 13, whatever, 10, 13, 17. They gave up 32. I'm like, no, you're not good, Rutgers. Like, what's going on? That's crazy.
Do you think they'll make a bowl? Do you think they can win 2 out of the next 4? Do you think they will?
The game that broke them was UCLA. They needed that one. I mean, they needed that one. They could beat Maryland and Michigan State, but the problem is both those are on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Maryland's not a great home atmosphere. So, yeah, you always laugh because I say it every time. Minnesota, I mean, it's at home, but I mean, Minnesota has been looking a little better.
Yeah.
I would honestly, if I had to say right now, I would say no. No. I don't. Could they? Yes, they could go 6-6. But as of right now, looking at that, I would say no.
My Irish, listen, shout out to the Navy. Like, Navy's cool and all that, but man, they played bad. Like, the Irish played well, but man, Navy played bad.
Navy's cool and all that, but you suck. That's basically what you're saying. And I'll say again, Will, Notre Dame should have beat Northern Illinois. Yeah. Imagine where they would be right now. Where do you think you ranked if they had to beat Northern Illinois?
3rd. 3rd or 4th.
Yeah. That game, I mean, they have played so well this season.
Mm-hmm.
They've looked way better than last year overall. But, man, I don't know. I don't know. It's so frustrating for Notre Dame fans and you. I know it. I know.
I mean, we're up to 8th at least in the AP poll, but
it was just such a stupid loss. It doesn't even.
I mean, as long as Notre Dame can host and win a playoff game, this will be a decent season if we can win a playoff game, or at least, yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
They could. I mean, they definitely can't lose again. I mean, it would be such a Notre Dame thing to do, though, to win out and then lose to USC. I mean, that better not happen. We got Van YT Roblox. Appreciate you for stopping by, and also Jim R saying disheveled Rutgers this year, or disheveled rather, and then he says likes backhanded compliment. I mean, I'm not trolling you, Will. I'm not, I swear, but I really just am frustrated because I'm like, they're having such a good season, and then you have that loss. Like, I don't know. Hummus Hero makes a good point here. Notre Dame's lucky they played A&M early. I think A&M would beat them by 2 scores.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Notre Dame's also gotten better. Offense has also gotten better too. So I think it would be a similar game. 1 score,
but
it would probably be closer than the 2 score. It'd probably be 1 score instead of 2 scores. But I still think Notre Dame could win because the passing offense has improved a lot, and the offensive line has also improved.
Honestly, I maybe would pick A&M. Did I pick A&M?
You picked A&M.
Yeah, I did. So I probably would pick A&M still. I mean, honestly, I probably would. I've picked Notre Dame every game since, though, including Northern Illinois. I mean, we got Jim R with a $20 super chat. Appreciate you for that, Jim. It's a serious question. If IU wore Irish unis, would they be top 5? Yes. Yes, they would. And they would be if they were wearing Michigan or Ohio State. Yes, it's because it's IU. And they're like, oh, well, their schedule's bad. Okay, Ohio State, have they had, outside of Oregon, that tough a schedule? You remember Michigan last year. Their non-conference schedule was terrible. Ohio State this year was terrible. So, absolutely, if they wore Irish unis, they'd be number one. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Indiana, keep proving the doubters wrong. I don't care. I just got done with the Indiana show on Indiana, the Voice of Football. I know some of you guys watched over there, really appreciate it. But Indiana, just honestly, is getting some disrespect. I don't even care about it though. I'm just happy they're undefeated and they're having the season they are. But they're still.
You'll get more respect if you win. If you beat Michigan, I think you should move up.
Jim Arce is not established, just a serious observation. I agree with it though. I mean, absolutely. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that Indiana was such an awful program, like if they were a program like West Virginia and they were having the season they were having, I'd be like, Indiana should be in the top 10. Indiana's not West Virginia. Nobody respects Indiana. Even you just hear people talking about, this is unbelievable. I never would have thought it was possible. And honestly, I didn't either. But any program can win, the right coach, right players and coordinators, and the schedule helps. But yeah, I agree, Jim. Really appreciate the super chat, and I love the comment. Because it is true. I think most people would agree that yes, if Indiana was Notre Dame, like if they had Notre Dame's helmet and colors and all that, they would be in the top 5, absolutely. But Indiana's just got to keep proving them wrong.
All right, I'm gonna push back against Hummus's comment that they played. I mean, besides LSU, has A&M really? I mean, Arkansas is decent, but like they beat Missouri. Missouri, we've seen Missouri's not good. They beat Arkansas. Arkansas is about roughly the same as Louisville, and then LSU is roughly the same as A&M. Yeah. So it's about the. I mean, A&M's is tougher, but it's not that much tougher.
It is tougher. I mean, you admit that it is tougher. I know the SEC's better. It just irritates people, but honestly, it's the environments. You know, the environments. Like that's what people don't understand about A&M.
A&M. But Notre Dame's shown they can win in a tough environment with A&M.
They did. It was week 1. They did. Don't get me wrong. Great win. If they didn't lose to Northern Illinois, then everybody would be on the Notre Dame wagon right now. Honestly, they would. And I'm even telling you right now, they're great. They're a great team. They're not an elite team, but they're a great team. Notre Dame is better than last year. It's just they have the one loss that they shouldn't have had that Notre Dame always seems to have. They always have one game.
I mean, yeah. I mean, A&M's schedule is tougher, but it's not that. Like I was saying, the gap's not as big as people make it. That's what I was saying. Like it is tougher, but
Jim Arce says A&M's dangerous out in the SEC. Elko's well, he's cleaned out so much of the filth of the Jimbo era, man. I mean, I don't know what else you want to say. There was so much wrong, right? Just so much wrong with what was going on behind the scenes in the locker room. Just a disaster. Absolute and utter failure. You know, and Elko, I would argue almost that they have less talent than Jimbo had on paper, but they're winning. And they're not distracted.
They're playing as a team now. That's the difference. They're playing as a team.
Yes, and that is more important than, oh, we got the number 1 recruiting class in 2022. We beat Bama. And then just a bunch of dudes that didn't seem to actually care about the program at all. And, like, they all, you know, left the team after the season. I mean, all those guys are gone, basically. It's just crazy. But I agree. Elko's stock is massively up, and he's doing even better than I would have thought.
Good job, Hokies are pulling it together.
Hey, Virginia Tech, I guess this is further validation.
Tootin's hurt, though, which is bad. Tootin's hurt.
Not a bad team. Oh, he got hurt?
Yeah.
That sucks. That especially because they're 1 game away from bowl eligibility. Is he out for the season? Hopefully he's not. Because if he is, that's a bad loss.
He's probable for their next week. Okay, it's not as bad as I thought. He's probable for the Syracuse game this next week.
That's really good then. They'll have a good shot in that one.
Yeah.
Like I was saying with Virginia Tech, it's just further validation that like Vanderbilt, is decent. I know they got the Georgia State loss, but still, like, hey, Vanderbilt beat Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is not a bad team. They're not a bad team.
I have to say one more thing. Miami dropped the game. Miami was supposed to play Notre Dame. They somehow dropped it. So that's why they're playing Army. They would be playing Miami, but Miami dropped the game. And they were going to go to South Bend, but they somehow got out of it.
Yeah, see, this is what sucks with college football is that, like, you're getting rid of all these really these possible good non-conference games because they don't help you. You know what I'm saying? The reason they're getting rid of them. And they don't help you in any way. They just make it tougher for you to make the playoffs.
Yeah. Oregon, the Ducks, dominant over Illinois.
Oregon has gotten so much better from the beginning of the season. That's all I can say. Like, at the beginning of the season, we were all like hitting the panic button. The Idaho game that they struggled with, barely beat Boise. Well, they're rolling. Will they win out? We'll see. Will they eventually choke? I don't know, but they're playing really good.
Penn State, they did enough to get by a Wisconsin. I mean, they got by in Camp Randall. Wisconsin's playing better. I mean, it's not that impressive of a win, but they won.
I will say I picked Wisconsin. I was buying the upset hype on this one. Thought it would happen. I still don't regret picking them, honestly. I mean,
it's a look-ahead game. I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, look ahead. I mean, it just felt right. Didn't happen. I mean, Penn State, the defense is what's helping them. It played good. Kudos to Tom Allen. Obviously, Wisconsin's not, a great offensive team, but I'm still worried about Penn State's offense coming into next week's game, man. Their offense is still not there.
I'm worried about the Buckeyes' O-line. That's what gives me hope for Penn State. The Buckeyes' O-line hasn't been that impressive.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that all I'll say is that, and we're going to get to that game.
But the quarterback play needs to be better than it was last season against Ohio State. We'll get to it, though. Penn State's quarterback play needs to be better.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna get to that game, but that's the thing that worries me for Penn State. I just don't think that their offense is good enough, to be a legitimately title contender. I just don't see it yet. And Hummus says he thinks the backup QB is scarier than Aller. That could be true, but if the backup QB's playing, that's a big game to be playing. Oh, man, Hummus says the O-line hasn't been impressive. That's the biggest understatement.
Man, Hummus is being critical of his own team.
Oh, man, that is so rare. That is so rare. Like, no Ohio State fan ever agrees with the criticism, ever. Thank you, Hummus. It's true. Joe says non-con top 2 game, great for college football fan, but maybe a higher score towards the playoffs. Absolutely. That's 100% spot on. I agree, Jim, because – I love the games. Love it. Like Indiana-Louisville. I wish Indiana-Louisville had played this year. I wish that had happened. But guess what? It doesn't help IU and it doesn't help Louisville. Because if Indiana lost that game, it hurts their playoff chances. If Louisville lost that game, then it hurts their chance to make a bowl game. It doesn't help. It just doesn't help either team to play. So Louisville gets an easier opponent. Indiana gets an easier opponent. It is what it is. Love the games. I agree. But it's just too risky for some teams, unfortunately. They got to incentivize playing those games. Or they're going to stop happening.
Ohio State struggle win on the look-ahead game against Nebraska.
I'm sorry, last thing. Hummus says laughing, but all Ohio State fans are notoriously critical. They must have been sarcastic. I'm talking about some Buckeye fans online that no matter what, they're like, oh, they make a bad play or something happens, like no matter what, like, oh, it was unfair or we're better than you. It's like, come on, like I remember a couple years ago, like their secondary was not very good, and like some Buckeye fan, like, oh, you still got the best secondary in the nation. It's like, no, you don't, you don't. But yeah, you're good, Hummus. Some Buckeye fans.
If Raiola was better,
Oh my God.
Nebraska could have won.
Nebraska should have won. You know how insane it would have been for IU to decimate Nebraska. Then Nebraska
would have been in.
It should have happened, dude. They should have won.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. I mean, congratulations, Ohio State. Kudos for pulling out. But man, if they lost, Ryan Day would have been on fire. Oh my Lord, he would have been on fire. Mm-hmm. The thing is that I think it's absolutely pathetic. Will Howard only threw the ball 16 times in this game. How? Mm-hmm. How do you even do that? You go an entire game in a close game and you throw 16 passes. That's like the antithesis of Kyle McCourty threw 64 passes.
Mm-hmm. Texas struggled to win against Vanderbilt. But hey, man, Vanderbilt's decent. But that with that talent advantage, Texas should have won by more.
Oh yeah, I honestly I'm shocked because I picked Texas to win by 20 to 25, something like that. I can't exactly remember the score. It is what it is. Honestly, it is what it is. I don't know what else to say with Vanderbilt. I'm happy for Vanderbilt. The issue I have with Vanderbilt is that now, like, they beat Alabama, and now everybody just thinks they're legit now. It's kind of frustrating. But, like, Indiana keeps winning, and nobody cares. I get it's the opponents. I get it's the level of competition. I understand that. And I am happy for Vandy fans. Like, they haven't had success in forever. You know,
hey, Jeffrey, I've made money betting on Indiana this year. So, like, I wanted them to keep it on the low. Yeah.
That's good, man. That's good. I'm happy for
I need to get on the BYU train too, man. BYU's been covering all their spreads.
Yeah, BYU's been a great story as well. Yeah, I mean, I think Vanderbilt's a solid team. I do. I mean, I do think Jerry Kill and Diego Pavia have a lot to do with it, but maybe this means Texas isn't an elite team either.
And who they beat?
Michigan. And that Michigan's not good. So, yeah. I mean, obviously, I still worry with Indiana, Michigan, but compared to last year, Michigan's not good. Still talented. But, yeah, Texas, I mean, Texas might be not legit. I don't know. Like, for what people thought when they were ranked number one. They might not be that good. They might not be.
Yeah.
Do you think it speaks more to Texas or Vandy? I think it speaks more to Texas.
A little both. I mean, Vandy also still. I mean, how did they lose to Georgia State though? I don't know how they lost to Georgia State. But
that's what I'm saying. How do you lose to Georgia State, but you beat Virginia Tech, you beat Alabama, you hang with Texas, beat Kentucky? That's what I'm saying. Like, college football's weird. You lost to Northern Illinois, Will. A&M, you beat all these other teams. It's weird. College football.
Hey man, if Vandy beats Auburn, they're bowl eligible though, man. All they gotta do is beat Auburn.
They better not lose to Auburn. That's all I'm telling you right now, Will. They better not lose to Auburn. If they lose to Auburn, that is a joke. Yeah. Okay? It's a joke.
They have Auburn, South Carolina, LSU, and Tennessee. So they got to win one of the next two, probably.
Wait, so they Auburn, Tennessee, South Carolina. What was the other one?
Auburn, South Carolina, LSU, Tennessee.
Okay.
Although, man, if they beat LSU, man, that would be great if they beat LSU.
I don't know, man. They could lose out. If they don't beat Auburn, they're in trouble. They need to beat. They need to beat Auburn. Don't even play around with that. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want to risk it. Beat Auburn. Mm-hmm. Just beat Auburn. You're good to go. Yeah. Almost said Vandy's like Nebraska and every other mid-tier team. They're capable of dramatic highs and lows. New reality is sport. Hey, I don't disagree. TCU now Indiana. I mean, do I think Indiana's sustainable? I don't know. I think it's gonna be hard to be sustainable, but I think with Signetti stays, I think it has a shot. But I mean, even TCU with Tony Dykes, it wasn't sustainable. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting argument. I do think there's a shot that it's sustainable though with Signetti, but we'll see.
Miami beating Florida State.
Dude, Florida State, man.
Florida State. I saw this stat. Florida State. Worst rushing in the FBS. Worst.
The worst in the FBS?
Well, they haven't played any FCS schools, so maybe that hurts it, but still.
Okay, that shouldn't matter, though.
It shouldn't matter.
So you're telling me that, like, UMass and Like Kennesaw State have better. They have a better rushing stat than Florida State, and people were blaming DJU. Come on, man! It's not all on DJU. I didn't know that. I knew that they couldn't run the ball, man, but I didn't know they had the worst rushing stats in college football. That's terrible. Like how? So that's pathetic. That's all I'm gonna say. That is pathetic. That's crazy.
Here it is.
Indiana isn't a mid-tier team this season, though. They're definitely a good team. I just hope that continues. It doesn't fall back like some other teams. Absolutely. It's awesome.
Brian Kelly, once he's in a hostile environment and starts to go against them, man, he just can't stop it. He can't win big games away from home. And once again, it showed its head. Once they put in that, what's that quarterback's name?
Man, I can't even remember either. I can't remember.
I'm bringing it up. Yeah. Marcel Reed.
Yeah.
Marcel
Reed. I remember now.
Marcel Reed. Like, it's like they didn't even prepare for Marcel Reed. They're caught with their pants down, didn't. As Mark said.
It's kind of like with Georgia, right? When they faced Alabama and the quarterbacks in the championship game. You know, went to Tua, they weren't prepared.
Well, to be fair, no one knew about Tua then. Like, people at least knew about Marcel Reed because of the Florida game.
True, but they didn't prepare for him because he blitzed them. I mean, it was a nightmare. I will say though, to your point about once the crowd and the tide turns in the game, Brian Kelly can't do anything. You see his face every game when they do this? His face, he just sits there and he's got the look of defeat. Like literally when they were down, like Marcel Reed's running all over the place and it was in the fourth quarter and A&M was up. They're about to score again. And they showed Brian Kelly's face, and I'm like, they're done. They're done. Like LSU's done. When you see the Brian Kelly stare, it's over. It's done. It's so funny, Will. It's so hilarious. He just gives up. It's hilarious.
Troy, everyone's going against me. We have Troy now.
Indiana's the best team in Indiana. Thanks, Troy. Man. I didn't think I'd ever see those words.
We need to see this game in the playoff, man. Now we need to see Notre Dame, Indiana in the playoff, man. We need to see.
Okay, that'd be awesome too. I mean, obviously, you know, I would hate, you know, for either team to lose, for you or for you know me, Indiana would suck. But that'd be cool, though. It would be cool. Man, there'd be so much hype for that game.
Yeah.
Thomas says, I doubt Indiana punts like 2023 TCU or Florida State 2024 is possible team building the portal prone to this. I agree. I just hope it doesn't happen. It could. I'm not definitely saying it couldn't happen. And Jim, I hope it's not a one and done with Signetti. I hope it's not either.
We need to see either Notre Dame, Miami, or Notre Dame, Indiana. Those would be the two games I would want most. Just because Miami freaking took us off their schedule, man. Freaking cowards.
Dude, if it was Indiana, Miami, all right, that would be crazy. I'll be hoping IU would win so bad, dude. I don't think it's Miami fans, but I still don't think Miami's legit. I really don't. But oh man, that's hilarious.
BYU stays undefeated. As there were dogs in Orlando, and they won by 13.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will say that I was shocked UCF was favored, but I picked UCF. Worst pick, man. Worst pick of the week. That hurt. That hurt. I mean, the thing is, man, UCF. What's going? Is Gus Malzahn losing it?
He could be.
What are your thoughts on that?
He should have just stayed at Auburn, man. He should have never got fired from Auburn.
I agree. I mean, that should have never happened. All I know is that he's not winning very much at UCF. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to get fired. I think he ended up getting an extension like last year. I think he's still all right, but definitely.
What's his buyout? Now we got to look at all these coaches' buyouts.
It's true. But also, it's like, what is, like UCF's, I guess you would say, what is their the high mark that they would go to with a buyout to fire him? Would they go up to like 10, 15, 20 million like what Indiana did to get rid of Tom Allen, or would they not?
21.7 million buyout.
I don't
It's
think
not that bad.
It's not that bad, but I don't think they'd fire him right now.
Yeah.
I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I am kind of shocked they're doing this bad though. What is their record?
3-5.
Oof. That's the thing. It's not good. And 1-4 in the Big 12. Tim Arson out BYU coach Kalani Sitake. It's pretty good. I mean, he was, I wouldn't say on the hot seat, but people were starting to have questions. But then this year, solved all
Jim,
that.
I think you were right.
Yeah, they were picked toward the bottom of the Big 12. No one thought they were going to be any good. The funny thing about it is, Will, is that their quarterback, Jake Retzloff, he was a backup for them last year. He transferred in like a JUCO or like Division like that. I think JUCO in 2023, and he was backup behind Keaton Slovis. This year, he gets his shot, and now they're 8-0. I mean, no one was expecting this because nobody knew that Jake, Retzlaff was any good. That's crazy.
Indiana beating Washington. I'll just let you take this one, Jeffrey.
I will say with this, Indiana was not a perfect game. They had some moments where they were struggling a bit, but a lot of it was because you don't have Rourke. You don't have Curtis Rourke, out there with his thumb injury, and hopefully he's available for Michigan State. That's all I'm going to say about that game right now. We'll get to that one, but I will say Taven Jackson just did enough. He did enough not to lose the game. He threw one pick. Should have been pass interference, though, on the Washington defenders. Clearly a pass interference call that they didn't call. I mean, he was like there early by like 2 seconds. They didn't call anything, and then the dude picked it off the tip. Just dumb that they didn't call that. But other than that, Taven Jackson didn't mess up, and he had a touchdown pass to Omar Cooper. He had a rushing touchdown, and Indiana's defense, D'Angelo Pons, player of the game with 2 picks. And one of them, I don't know if you saw the highlight pick, not the picks, but the highlight one where he was in the air, 50-50 ball, and he caught it. He's really good. He is a good player. So Indiana's defense just so much different than the Kevin Wilson era. This is a type game. During that era, they wouldn't have won because they had no defense. Their defense saved them in this game. And Indiana won the ball with a better O-line. Ellison, 123 on the ground and a touchdown. Indiana relied on the run game. Indiana relied on the defense, and Taven Jackson did enough. They're going to need Rourke back, though, to win the potential bigger games down the stretch. But definitely Taven Jackson did his job, and the rest of the team did their job, and it was a pretty good win.
Congrats to the Hoosiers. Missouri, Alabama. Good old Drew Pine, man. Giving the Tide the easy win. Good old Drew Pine.
Drew, my Lord, he's bad. He is not good. Drew Pine is terrible. I still can't believe he was at Notre Dame, Will. How is he at Notre Dame?
I can't believe we went 8-4 with him.
That's an accomplishment. That's an accomplishment, man.
Maybe that's why Tommy Reese is the passing game coordinator for the Browns now.
You never know. I mean, hey, that's impressive. I will say that when
as soon as Pine threw that pick six, I cashed out. I still made money because I won with it. I placed 2 bets: Missouri to cover and Indiana to cover. So I still made a little bit of money. I still made a little bit of money. That was a bad pick
on Missouri to cover.
Well, I didn't know I thought Brady Cook was going to be healthy.
It's true. He played
for a little bit.
Brady Cook played, and then he got hurt more. A different injury. That's the thing. I mean, I wouldn't have picked upset, but I might have picked Missouri to cover if Brady Cook was healthy. But when all that was going on with them, and they have other injuries too, I picked Alabama decently big, and they won even more than I thought. So good job for Alabama. I still don't think Alabama's a great team compared to the Saban era. On paper, compared to 95% of college football, they're still a great team, talent-wise. But, yeah, I just feel like this is a game Alabama needed. It doesn't matter how bad Missouri, how bad a shape Missouri's in right now. It's just a win that Alabama needed to get all the bad, things that have been happening lately, with the Vanderbilt game, Tennessee game, and even barely winning the South game. They just needed a game like this. They needed a blowout win, and this is going to help Alabama's confidence. And now bye week, we'll see what happens. LSU, big game, but now will be give them their last chance to make the playoffs. But yeah, definitely Alabama needed this one. Jim R says Pond should stay on the pond, having a lot. Yeah, it's just such a great line, man. Pond should stay on the pond. He's terrible. I try not to say about anybody, man. They're just awful. Drew Pond is not a good quarterback. He is not good. How many teams he played for now?
He played for Arizona State last year, so I guess third.
Then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Troy B says 8-4 is almost as good as Hartman.
Sam Hartman, man, he's the fourth string for the Commanders now. He's the practice squad quarterback.
Dude, he'll never get on the field.
But he's like Jaden Daniels' best friend, man. Every time Jaden Daniels, the defense is on the field, he's always sitting right next to Jaden Daniels, man. That's how he's keeping his job, just being friends with Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart, man. Whatever it takes to stay on the tee, because he's not getting out of the field. Yeah. Dude, he had a rough season, man, at Notre Dame. I mean, I was shocked Riley Leonard. I mean, I know NIL, Notre Dame's got money, but I was shocked he even went there after what Notre Dame did with Hartman.
Well, he grew up a Notre Dame fan, and that's why.
I get it. I get that. But, I mean, it's just you got to have, good results with a player like that, a high-profile player that's going to your program to better his chances for the pros. And his stock went down at Notre Dame. It went down. That's not happened. So, yeah, Notre Dame, I mean, Riley Leonard's making it look better. I will say that.
Yeah, and Jaden should be Rookie of the Year, hummus. I was at that Bears game, man.
Jaden Daniels is playing great. Yeah. I mean, obviously, this last game, it was fluky. They shouldn't have won.
Well, the fluke wouldn't happen if Jaden Daniels wasn't good and could throw it that far.
Well, also, he kept it alive. He's dancing around there. Mm-hmm. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's awesome. I mean, I'm just saying, on a play like that, that's fluky. Shouldn't win in a scenario like that. They didn't just outright win, but still very impressive how they're doing this season. If you've been watching my NFL videos, I've been talking very good about the Commanders and Jaden every week. Definitely, if you guys go, check out my NFL video that I just did, because I do them every week. NFL picks and predictions for every single NFL game, and definitely I've been very high on the Commanders. And I know Will's a Commanders fan, so definitely give a little extra juice there. Because, I give credit when credit's due when a team's playing well. Like with the Panthers, Panthers, they suck. And the
Panthers got to win one of these next two Giants and Saints games, man. You can't go one win, man.
Well, do you think Canellis will get fired after 1 year?
He shouldn't, man, but Tepper's going to fire
him. The thing is how can you win when every year you fire your coach and every time you get a decent player, you get rid of them? I mean, they got rid of Brian Burns. They got rid of DJ Moore. They got rid of Deontay Johnson. I mean, I don't know if Johnson's not as good as those other two guys, but just everybody. They're horrible. And get Miles Sanders in, and he hasn't done anything. I mean, he does nothing. Chuba Hubbard is the best back, and the thing is that there's a report that said, "Oh, we're not trading Chuba Hubbard." That probably means they will. I mean, it's just bad, dude. It is bad. The ownership sucks, and it's horrible. It is a pain to watch. It stinks.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. Kansas State kind of got away with it in this one, but they're in the Big 12 race.
Avery Johnson, 253, 2 touchdowns, but the completion percentage was kind of low. They got by. A win's a win, I guess, in a rivalry game. Records don't matter. You never know what's going to happen, but Kansas, good game for them. They needed this one. To have any shot to turn their season around. I know they can still win out. I don't know who they got, but definitely Kansas State's weird, though. I agree with Jim R. Tough to figure out. 1 week they're blowing you out, and then the next week they're not playing very well. I still can't believe that BYU lost. What was that?
I mean, BYU's good,
close
but
calls this year, except that game. Like Kansas State, I don't know. They're not an elite team, but their inconsistent play might come back to bite them at the end of the season.
Oklahoma stinks.
Yeah, there's nothing really to report on this game. Ole Miss,
bad.
Not an elite team. They're a good team, so they can beat teams that aren't very good. And Oklahoma's not very good. So, yeah, they won. Ole Miss is definitely not top tier in the SEC. They're in the second tier.
SMU almost blew this game, but they came out with the win.
6 turnovers from SMU, and Duke still lost. And by the way, at the end of regulation, I don't know if you knew this or not, Duke had like a 25 goal, and SMU blocked it. So all Duke had to do was hit the field goal at the end of regulation, and they would have won the game. But SMU blocked the field goal. The blocking was terrible, dude. Dude jumped over the line and just blocked it. It was one of the easiest blocks I've ever seen. Yeah, that just a tough way for Duke to lose. They're having a good year, but really their schedule's been soft, and they could easily be 2-6. They're not a great team, but still good that they're 6-2.
Carolina finally getting off the schneid against Virginia, getting revenge from last season.
If Carolina, great to get revenge, but if Carolina played like this all season long, they would not be 4-4. They would probably be 7-1, 8-0. I mean, they played great in this game, but the thing is, they're not consistent. I mean, James Madison giving up 70 is a joke. That's a joke. I mean, that's just silly. And then losing to Duke the way they lost, they were up 20-0, let them come back 21-20. Honestly, I think Carolina's a better football team than Duke, even with the record. I think Carolina's a better football team. I think
Duke's just better coached.
Yes, that's the difference. Duke probably is better coached. It's nothing against Matt Brown, but I mean, he's aging. He's definitely doesn't have, the attention to detail that he had when he was younger. But Carolina is the more talented team, they're the better team. But man, they've just played like garbage several weeks in a row. And
they got Florida State, Wake, Boston College, and NC State. They got to make a bowl, right?
They should make a bowl. They should. If they don't beat Florida State and Wake, that's sad. I mean, those two teams suck. So they just shouldn't be 4-4. It's the sad thing.
Memphis. I mean, Memphis got killed by Navy, man. So that makes me feel better about the Navy win.
Yeah, Memphis probably isn't great, but just not probably from their schedule.
Tulane stays undefeated in the American.
Good for them. Quarterback threw 55 passes for North Texas.
Arkansas, man, they ran it up.
Dude, did you see the yards in this game? Over 1,100 yards between the two teams, and Arkansas had 673 yards of total offense. Wow. And Arkansas lost to Oklahoma State. Again, football's weird. They beat Tennessee, lose to Oklahoma State. Mississippi State, 31 points, they score on Georgia. Georgia's a good team, but they're not unbeatable. They play bad sometimes like everybody.
App State finally got off the schneid.
Georgia State's 2-5, but beat Vandy.
Miami of Ohio. ECU getting their first win after they canned their coach.
Yeah, I'm still actually shocked.
Temple's horrible, so yeah.
Were you shocked he got fired?
A little shocked.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be this season. I thought they'd give him another year. I mean, I guess they just felt, hey, he's not going in the right direction. Let's move on, whatever. I mean, ECU could still make a bowl game. I don't know their schedule. I do know that some people have still said that, hey, they could make a bowl game, and I've seen them in some projections still. But
they have FAU, who's having a bad year.
Okay.
Tulsa is not that much better than FAU. And North Texas, who's also 2-2 in the conference, and then Navy, they'll lose to Navy.
Still a chance. They still have a chance.
I
wonder if they'd have won this big with Houston. We'll never know.
Iowa getting off the schneid. Northwestern's back to being horrible. I mean, Big Ten West helped them a lot. So
what Brendan Sullivan, quarterback for Iowa, wasn't he at Northwestern?
he was.
He was at Northwestern. Did nobody catch that? I just noticed that.
Oh my goodness.
He was at Northwestern.
They got benched again. Oh boy.
Oh boy. Yeah, Iowa, man. I mean, they're Iowa. I mean, still committed to the run, not an elite offensive team, but hey, they're scoring more.
Yeah.
Defense is still good, not as good as it's been in the past, but still good. I mean, they're gonna win 7, 8, 9 games. They're Iowa. People said they're gonna win the Big Ten or make the Big Ten. Yeah, Iowa's Iowa, dude. They do the same thing every year.
I can't believe they almost beat Iowa State. They blew that game, and if they didn't blow that game, maybe they would be better.
Maybe true. I mean, that they did blow it. Yeah, I agree. Should have went with Iowa State. Man, that hurts.
Maryland's bad.
Yeah, Maryland is pretty bad. I mean, they have moments where they're like okay, but then they it's not consistent throughout the game. And Fleck, low key, is saving his job.
Yeah, he's getting away with it. Yeah. UConn beating Rice. UConn might make a bowl again this year, 5-3. Oh, he actually flipped. Did he actually flip?
It looks like it. Appreciate your style.
Well, we'll see if he has a decent coach, but I guess he flipped.
Yeah. He said no.
No. Oh, okay.
Oh man. Yeah, UConn, I mean, having a decent year after having a bad year. Imagine if they beat Duke. Should have beat. They had Duke. They're close.
Look at their last
though, 9 of 24 for 128 and a pick.
Wasn't this guy committed to Oak? Didn't he start at Oklahoma? He wasn't like a big recruit. He was at Oklahoma, right, Evers? Wasn't he? He didn't start.
That's a good point. I think so. Honestly, I think you're right on that. Yep, he previously played for the Oklahoma Sooners and for the Wisconsin Badgers.
Yeah, because he was yeah.
Moose, I'm here in Michigan for on NIL doing them 3 years, $5
million.
Oh
yeah, I know. Dave Portnoy is paying for it.
Oh boy.
Wake beats Stanford. So
what's Stanford's record?
2-6.
Ooh.
I remember they beat Syracuse.
What are you thinking about Clausen?
Next year, well, I know Portnoy's involved. Maybe it's not all of him, but I think next year maybe they'll fire him, but I don't know if Wake cares that much.
Yeah, I mean, he's trending in the wrong direction, but I mean, he still has been one of the best. He's still one of the best things they've ever had. So, you know, I mean, Wake's just kind of one of those programs, man. I mean, they're in the ACC. It's a conference. It's losing value in the college football world. They're just a like they're behind Carolina. You know, they're just, you know what I'm saying? It's just Wake. They're just behind a lot of teams. They're not relevant. You know, like even when they were good, no one cared. No one watched.
I mean, Wake's never going to be the biggest show in town in North Carolina. Like NC State and UNC are bigger.
Even Duke, when it comes to basketball.
Duke for basketball is bigger.
Since it's better, kind of gets support, kind of. Wake's just the fourth team. You know, there's a lot of universities in North Carolina, and they're not even in the top 2. It's unfortunate. I mean, I think Clausen, he's a good fit for them. I mean, he is. He wins enough. So, we'll see.
Yeah, Sam Hartman's alma mater, yes.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
Oklahoma State, what happened to them, man? Over in the pack in the Big 12.
I will say Gundy's not on the hot seat. He's not, and Dave Aranda is another guy saving his job. He's turning it
It'll be
around.
interesting, even if 6 wins is enough.
I think it will. I think 6 wins is enough.
I mean, they care about football at Baylor more than they do at Wake.
Oh yeah, of course. Baylor definitely is more of a. I'm not like I wouldn't say a brand, but I mean
that rivalry game
much
against
bigger team than
TCU
Wake.
might be a big say on if he keeps his job or not. That's this week.
True. Well, at least he has a shot now to save his job, whereas before when he was
He was toast.
Everybody was like, he's done. He's got a shot now. So,
man, Texas Tech blew this game.
Texas Tech, man, they are a pretty mid team. Okay at times, and then they blow games. They're not horrible. But they just, man, have you ever noticed that Texas Tech starts out 5-2, 5-3 a lot, and then they choke and go 5-7? Have you noticed that?
Now that you said that, I remember that. Yeah,
that happens a lot at Texas Tech. Season when they had Matt Wells, they were 5-3. They fired him, and then they went 5-7. So that could happen again. TCU, Hoover's a decent QB. He's decent. He was committed to IU. I've been following him because he was committed to Indiana, and then he decommitted, went to TCU with Allen getting fired and everything. But not technically. I think that was the season before that when Indiana was doing really bad. He was like, I'm not going there. So he's not a bad QB, and I think TCU's 5-3 too, right?
Yes.
So yeah, Sonny Dykes doing a little bit better.
JMU getting off the schneid.
Yeah, they needed a win. They're so salty about Cignetti, man. I'm telling you, they're so salty on Twitter. Oh my God, it is bad. They roast IU every week. It's only because of our players.
Cal taking it to the Beavers.
I was not expecting this game to be this. Oregon State's actually been competitive this season. And with Cal, have you noticed like Cal every week was blowing games by like one score? So I Oregon State in this one. And wow, Cal, it's kind of like Carolina. If Cal played like this all year, they could be like 7-1. Yeah, same with Carolina. Carolina and Cal, same way. Both these teams had a great week this week, got to 4-4, but they shouldn't be 4-4. Neil Brown will not go away, Will. He will not go away. Neil, what do you think about Neil Brown, man? Like,
did you see there's so many fire Neil? Did you see all the fire Neil Brown?
Trending fire Neil Brown. It was like all night the other night. Just on a random like Sunday, Monday night, you see fire Neil Brown like on Twitter, man. I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, I mean, do you think he survives?
I think they have to win out.
Okay. I don't think he's gonna win out though. You think 7-5 is enough? I've been on record saying I think 7-5 is enough. Maybe.
Man, the Cincinnati game will be big this week. They go to Cincinnati. Oh no, they have a bye. They have a bye.
Neil Brown is the epitome of mid. you want to talk about mediocre? He is the epitome of that. Like you can't get any more mediocre than Neil Brown. And remember this, Will. I even posted on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it. But I even posted, you remember that Twitter account that did the Neil Brown versus Josh Heupel poll? And Neil Brown won in the poll. Neil Brown in the poll, dude. I said that. Does anybody remember this, though, with Neil Brown winning the poll over Josh Heupel? I mean, it is hilarious, dude. Why did Neil Brown, after last season, West Virginia fans really said Neil Brown was a better coach than Josh Heupel? And now they again. It is hilarious.
Utah falling apart this year without Rising.
Dude, I think Whittingham's going to retire after the season.
Yeah.
Think so?
Yeah, I think it's a big possibility.
I mean, to me, it's like he's already named a successor. Just things are trending down. I don't think he's going to want to keep staying there. Sucks too. Like Utah was good for a while.
Michigan's kind of saving their season, not losing to Michigan's.
I picked Michigan State, and the thing is, Will, is Michigan State they outgained Michigan by 87 yards. They missed a field goal. Like there was a lot of things Michigan State could have done to not lose this game. They did lose this game. Congrats to Michigan, but Michigan State actually should have won.
Mm-hmm. Mark Stoops, hot seat.
Hot seat, but his buyout's massive. It's like $40 million. $40 million. I don't know if Kentucky would chill out that much for football. They already did it with Cal too, so I think that he's getting another year. But man, they've fallen off, dude. And keep in mind, Georgia fans, you beat them by 1. You're not invincible. People say, "Oh, Georgia's unbeatable." Well, they lost to Bama, almost lost to Kentucky, struggled in Mississippi State. Yeah, they beat Texas. That's great, but they're not this invincible program. And Auburn, they finally won a game against a not good team. Like Auburn normally hangs with the good teams, right? Well, yeah, they finally beat a comparable team. Congrats to Auburn. I don't know, man. Hugh Freeze likes Hugh Freeze. Everybody wants him fired.
Yep. Colorado beat Cincinnati.
Colorado is bowl eligible.
They're good this year, man. They're
having a good season, and I won't say done a 180, but I've admitted this season. If you've been watching my last few videos on picking games the last few weeks, I've been saying that Colorado is better. I admit it. Colorado is a better team.
That pick at the end of the first, was it a pick at the end or was it a missed field goal at the end of the first half? That was bad for Cincinnati.
I think it was a missed field goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I know is that Cincinnati, not a bad team. I don't know if Brendan Sorsby is actually pretty good because I think he's not bad. I mean, he was pretty good at IU. Because I know people like say Satterfield sucks, but they're not having a bad season. But yeah, congrats to Colorado. I mean, they're much better this year.
Mm-hmm. Washington State getting ranked.
Yeah, not an impressive win though, dude. I mean, San Diego State sucks. Like they're horrible. I'm like shocked, kind of in a way that they'd even get ranked, barely winning this game. I mean, it's kind of ugly, but I get it. I mean, somebody's got to be ranked, but man, not impressive. Win's a win though.
Yeah. On to this week's games.
Okay. Some of these are going to be easy to pick, though. There's a few difficult ones. There's always a couple every week.
Sam Houston's again on a Tuesday.
Wow. Yeah, it's like if you forget there's football on sometimes on Tuesday, Wednesday. We got Dave Brown in the house. Appreciate you for stopping by, Dave Brown.
Great win, Dave. Great win. San Diego State, Boise. Boise should win. I mean, San Diego State.
Yeah, Boise's going to blow them out. I'll be shocked if they didn't. I mean, I know San Diego State just hung with Washington State, but Boise should win big.
All right, here we go.
Virginia Tech at Syracuse on the CW.
It's a decent little game.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one that I'll tune into a little bit, especially if Ohio State, Penn State isn't close. I will say, man, look at Kyle McCord, 19 touchdowns, 11 picks. That sure went up after last week. Honestly, if Syracuse didn't have as garbage of a performance last week as they did, I would have probably picked them here. But I don't know. I mean, do you think they bounce back? I mean, performance last week.
I'll go 34-31 Hokies. I think it'll be close.
I'll go 27-24 Virginia Tech. I feel like Scotty B, appreciate you for stopping by. Says he thinks Syracuse wins. He thinks it'll be tight. I just feel like Virginia Tech is playing better than Cuse right now on a little bit better trajectory. I'll go with Virginia Tech.
Well, since it's a noon game, I guess we'll just talk about it now. Ohio State.
Ohio State at Penn State, and the Buckeyes are favored by 3.5. I wonder what that spread would have been to start out if Aller, we knew for sure he was playing. Do we know if Drew Aller's playing? That makes a big difference to me. I know some people are saying the backup's better, but you can't trust a backup in a big game like this when they're probably not going to be ready, for a game like this. Reporting on Aller. I have no idea. I have not been keeping up with it.
Game time decision. Yeah. That doesn't help us.
That really helps. Oh, man. Okay, Scotty B says until Ohio State loses Penn State, I don't see Penn State winning. It was 2016, right? The last time Penn State beat them?
2016, because of the blocked field goal, took it back for a touchdown.
I remember that game. Yep.
And then they blew it the next 2 years against them.
Yep. McSorley. Honestly, I don't think Penn State's offense is good enough. I don't. I think they still have problems on that side of the ball, and I think
their defense, let's get enough stops.
If their defense can get a turnover, like a pick six, something that they can get points on, they can win. And if this game was at night too, night atmospheres in Happy Valley are different. It's a day atmosphere. It's still going to be good, but it's not going to be as good. I'm going Ohio State 24-17.
You freaking stole my score.
Sorry, man. It just feels right.
I can't see James Franklin doing it.
Dave Browse is sadly, I'm guessing, Ohio State. No one wants Ohio State to win.
Besides Troy and other Buckeye fans.
That's what I'm saying. Like, nobody wants it to win.
I'll go 24-20. I'll give him another field goal. It'd be nice. Yeah,
all right. Everybody's saying, like, Scotty beat 20-17. You're saying 24-20. I'm saying 24-17. Everybody's in that neighborhood. Even Troy V's like 27-19.
Yeah.
Penn State, they're not as good. I mean, they're having a good year, and they could win. But I think Ohio State gets it done.
If it's not this year, it's never, man.
It's never. Nebraska almost beat them. You never know. It's possible. I mean, anybody can beat anybody on a given day if you have a great game. Vandy beat Bama, but it's for Penn State. You can't let the pressure get to you. You just got to do it. Just got to beat them.
You got to take shots downfield.
Yeah, you can't be throwing 2-yard passes. That's what I'm saying. I still don't trust Penn State. At the beginning of the year, I was like, they look a little better. It looks like they're throwing it downfield, and they've kind of gotten away from it again. Conservative. It's just boring. It's like Penn State, you're ranked 3rd, and you're not the 3rd best team in the country. You're not.
No one thinks they're the 3rd best team in the country. No one does.
They do not play like the 3rd best team in the country. They play like they're the 12th best team in the country, like they always are, like the 8 to 12 range. And State, they're not elite. They're always second tier. This is their chance to prove that they can be elite, and they never do.
They need to pull out some stuff in their playbook with Kotelnicki, their new offensive coordinator. They got to mix it up.
Yeah, you can't be boring.
They have to keep the Buckeyes
garbage all the time. Yeah, so give me the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Until Penn State changes things up and proves everybody wrong, you got to go with the Buckeyes.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm just not even gonna. Duke's gonna get blown out probably.
Miami's gonna win. I mean, I don't trust Miami fully this year. Still think they're overrated, but Duke. I mean, like I keep saying, Duke's in a way. almost, and this is a stupid comparison because Louisville's better. But Duke's almost like this year's Louisville in a way. Like Louisville last year, and that's not a slight at you, Dave Brown. Like Louisville is better than Duke this year. But I'm just saying, like Louisville was getting overrated by the fact that their schedule was like very easy, and they were winning their games. Duke's kind of the same boat. So Duke's not 6-2 good. They're not that good. They're not. So give me Miami.
Ole Miss and Arkansas.
This is interesting because Arkansas
7 points is too much.
You think 7 points is too much?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It probably should be 3.
4.5.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know, man. Ole Miss is not looking great. They're good. They're a good team.
They've blown it twice.
Arkansas gets another big win, gets bowl eligibility. You think it's possible?
You know what? 38-31 Hogs.
You know what? I was really leaning Arkansas's way, but now that you picked them, I don't know. Give me Arkansas 31-27. I'm feeling it. I'm really am. I think Arkansas wins. Ole Miss is a good team, but they just haven't played up to their potential, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's true, Scotty B. They got another non-conference game, so they'll be fine. I don't know. Arkansas, they're playing determined. You know, they're having a better year, bounce back year for Pittman. I think they get it done. I don't know. Could be wrong though. Could be one. I had a couple upset picks last week with UCF and Wisconsin that backfired. So you got to go with an upset or two. We'll see. I'll go Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. Just a couple miles up the road from Yankee Stadium, Air Force going to Army.
Army.
Yeah, Army's big.
This is an interesting game. Minnesota's favored? What? What do you think about it? I'm shocked. Minnesota's favored against Illinois.
Is someone hurt for Illinois?
I don't know, man. I'm shocked. Something's going on there. Something's going on.
Still can't believe Carolina beat Minnesota.
You're saying that because Carolina's bad, right? Like they're horrible.
Sorry.
Thank you, Will. I appreciate that. Scotty says Illinois would have been favored if they were not crushed by Oregon. Honestly, I don't really think that should matter. I mean, I get that Minnesota just blew out Maryland, but
Maryland's bad.
And Oregon's playing arguably like the best team in the country right now. Are they the best team in the country? I don't know, but they're playing like it. What do you think? I mean, it's at Illinois. Illinois's got a tough environment, but the game that bothers me for Illinois is that freaking Purdue game.
Yeah.
What the world happened? Purdue changes QBs, and suddenly, like, freaking Purdue is taking Illinois to overtime and everything. I don't know, dude. Illinois hung with Penn State, but I still don't think Penn State's legit.
I'm thinking Illinois, man. I don't buy the. I'm going 28-24 Illinois.
I don't think Illinois is a great team. I don't. But it's at home, so I'll go 27-24.
I mean, they're a good team, and Minnesota's mid, so.
Yeah, it's at home. If it was at Minnesota, maybe. I'll probably only go in Illinois because they're at home. They're not playing as well right now. They are kind of fading. They were playing better earlier in the season. But I'll go Illinois. And like even that Nebraska win's not looking as good. I'll go Illinois. Though.
Nebraska blew it.
Yes.
And I'd rather watch
elements of Scott Frost era in there.
Purdue. Or Stanford NC State.
What? No pick for Northwestern Purdue? You don't even.
No, I'd rather watch paint dry.
I'll go Northwestern 17-14. NC State wins.
Should win. Here we go.
I hope Vandy wins. Honestly, I mean, the thing is, I feel like I've been trashing Vandy, and a little salty Bama loss.
Yes.
Maybe you could say so. Maybe you could say so. But I still hope Vandy beats Auburn. Come on, Auburn. I don't like Auburn this year, man. They're annoying. But Auburn's favored by a touchdown, Will. They're favored by
It's just because of the talent disparity.
It's the talent disparity, and it's Jordan Hare. I don't care if it's at Jordan Hare. I mean, they're oh my gosh. What are you doing, man? Well, I'm gonna let you pick first.
Auburn's up late. They're driving to run the clock out. Peyton Thorne throws an interception. Vanderbilt scores. Vanderbilt wins. I'll go 31-27 Vandy.
I'm just not. I'm not picking Auburn. I know I picked Kentucky last week and they won, but Auburn's burned me so many times. Obviously, like it almost makes me feel like I'm going to go Vandy and then Auburn will win. But give me Vandy 27-21. I'm going Vanderbilt.
There we go.
Vanderbilt's played better than Auburn all season long. So. Dude, imagine if Oklahoma lost to Maine. That'd be hilarious. Or Michigan. Is there any shot?
Michigan's offense is too bad.
I'm going Oregon 34-17.
I think the last time these two teams played was 2007 when Chip Kelly's first season at Oregon, and they just couldn't stop that offense.
Yeah.
But this time I think Oregon just can't score. Michigan just won't be able to score on the other side of the ball. Will dominate Michigan.
52-3. Troy. 52-3. Oh man, that's funny. Oh man, I know you'd love to see that. Yeah, Scotty's only tricky thing is the road environment.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Michigan's environment.
I'm going
for a bit, but Oregon's just so much better. Moose. Come on, man. I know you love Michigan, but could they win? Yes. They could win. But their offense blows. It's horrible. So Oregon would have to play a horrible game on offense to have a shot.
I'm going 31-10 Ducks.
I think Oregon should roll. I mean, if they lose, Michigan shock the world. I just don't see it. I think Oregon easily wins. Could be wrong. I don't see it.
We have the cocktail party down in Jacksonville, Florida, Georgia.
Do you think Florida has a chance?
If Georgia plays like they did against Kentucky, they'll definitely have a chance.
See, I agree. What you just said is 100% what my thoughts are. It depends on what Georgia we get. Georgia, if they play like they did against Texas, is going to blow them out. But if they play like they did against Alabama in the first half, or Mississippi State, or I don't know. The Kentucky game, Georgia's not perfect. They're not invincible. No team's perfect, but they have had some rough performances. So I don't know. I'm gonna go Georgia 34-20. I think they win, but I think Florida's gonna keep it interesting for a while.
I want to pick Florida, but
I do want to pick Florida. I really do. I've actually been picking Florida a lot this year, and they pulled through for me a few times. But
this would save Billy's job.
Oh yeah, absolutely, it would save his job. I mean, I honestly am I'm hoping he wins. I want as many people to not have coaching firings as possible, so Signetti won't be in the conversation. So I'm rooting for Billy to save his job. I don't want him going to Florida. Then I'd be mad. So, honestly, I hope
it could be LSU and Ole Miss at the end of the year.
Maybe.
Moose.
Come on, Moose. It's turned into the Ohio State, Michigan war again. That's what I'm saying. It's always controversial with you guys. I love it. You guys are awesome rivalries, man. Awesome rivalries. Man.
I'm going to say
Georgia's got it.
I'll give Florida the cover in this.
I did too.
Yeah, you did already. I'll go 34-21.
Yeah, at 34-20. We're on the same page.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Can Iowa State stay undefeated?
Honestly, I do think Iowa State and BYU, and to a lesser extent, Indiana and Pitt are all a bit overrated. I think Indiana's better than all of them. But Iowa State, they've had a couple performances this year where they could have lost. Iowa, didn't they barely beat UCF? They've had their moments. So this is going to be a close game. I think Tech covers.
You think so?
I do. I think I'll go Iowa State 35-27.
I don't know, man. Tech might just be deflated from that last week's game.
It could.
I'll go 38-17 Iowa State.
It could be true. I mean, they could win by more. I just think they've had enough performances where they've barely won for me to think that this will be close. But I still think they'll win. Another
Indiana's -7.5, man. Making that money by betting Indiana to cover these spreads, man.
All I know is about this game, Will, is they need Curtis Rourke. Their offense was way worse with Taven Jackson. Taven Jackson got the job done, but they need Rourke. And I will say that this is the first true road game they've had. UCLA and Northwestern, Indiana had a lot of fans at both those games. Michigan State's a legit atmosphere, and they're going to be thrilled to have a top 15 undefeated Indiana coming to town. And this is a rivalry. The old brass spittoon.
Oh, I forgot the spittoon.
Even thinks about it. So I'm worried. No look ahead for IU. No look ahead. They didn't do it with Northwestern before Nebraska. Didn't have a hangover with Washington. So I think
one thing that could affect this game for IU, Michigan State could have some of its players suspended from the fight against Michigan.
I hope so. That'd be great. Hope so. I'm worried about the atmosphere. I'm worried about Rourke's thumb, but if Rourke plays, I think Indiana wins. I'll go with IU 28-17.
They're not that. The Michigan State's not good this year, so.
And Childs is very turnover prone. He's got 7 touchdowns and 9 picks on the season. So I think
he played well against. I don't think he turned it over against Michigan, did he?
I don't think so.
So he played well against them.
Indiana 28-17 for me.
That's about. We're picking similar there. I'll go 35-17 then.
Okay.
Man, this could be a tricky game for Kansas State, but I just don't think Houston's very good. So I think they'll
Kansas State, I'll go with them to win 28-17. They struggle on the road. I think Houston.
Yeah, but Houston's bad. But
Houston's bad, but K-State has looked bad on the road.
Yeah, so it's gonna be tricky. I'll go 34-30. They'll escape, but. This is another tricky.
I'm telling you right now, Will, if Nebraska loses this game, they could miss a bowl game again.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? Have you seen their schedule? They could lose out if they lose this game.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Jeffrey. You took the words right out of my mouth.
I've been watching Nebraska. They did this last year. They were 5-3, and they lost their last 4 games. And then this year, 5-1, and they could lose out. All Nebraska fans want, Will, is just bowl eligibility. They just want to have bowl eligibility. This is the game. You're at home. You're playing a crappy team. Get it done. Don't worry about it. Go 6-6. It's all good. Because their final few games, man, are not easy. I'm just saying. So I think I'll go Nebraska 31-21. I think.
These teams have played a lot over the years, Jeffrey. They tried to make their own like Midwest versus West Coast, like their own version of Notre Dame USC.
That's kind of weird. That don't even make sense.
So yeah,
been very competitive.
mm-hmm.
Obviously, a lot of those games were in the Osborne era, though.
Yeah. I think they beat Devaney when Devaney was there in '72. That was like a long winning streak that they ended.
Yeah.
That's yeah. And then I remember that Bo Pelini after the 2013 game got mad that fans left when they're getting thrown out.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah, I remember that game. But Nebraska should just be able to run the ball well enough. If they could just get their run game going, make it easy for Raiola, not have to pin it on him as much. I think they'll win.
They should win. This is their bowl eligibility game. They should win, but it wouldn't surprise me if they blow it.
Will they blow it? If this was Frost, yes. I'll give it to him, though. I'll give him 27-10. I'll give it to him. If it's close, though.
I think they're different with Matt a little bit, but they're still not all the way there.
What's your pick?
Yeah, I went Nebraska 31-21.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then will Mac Brown finally beat Florida State in this toilet bowl of a game in Tallahassee?
I'm telling you, Will, I am going to be furious. Furious if Carolina loses this game. Florida State is garbage.
Florida State's offense is the equivalent to the Browns with Deshaun Watson at quarterback.
Give me North Carolina 27-21. Please get it done, North Carolina. Florida State is bad. Give me North Carolina. Omari and Hampton should be able to run on them.
Mm-hmm. I think it'll be close, but I think Florida State's defense will wear down because of how bad their offense is.
Yep, I agree.
It'll even make Gene Chizik's defense look all right.
Which is saying something.
So I'll go 31-20. Carolina.
Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
I just Carolina wins, Will. It'd be so embarrassing for North Carolina lose. It's the same thing with Cal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just embarrassing. You can't have it. Carolina needs to win this game. It would just look terrible if they don't win. I hope they win.
Mm-hmm. Arizona UCF. Which team will get off the schneid?
Honestly, I'm getting sick of picking UCF, man.
I've
picked them like 4 times this year, and they've lost them all. The thing is, defeated, man. 11 touchdowns, 10 picks. He's just not the same without Fish.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is a hard one, man. I like I said, I'm just getting really sick of picking UCF, and they keep losing.
I've picked Arizona, and they've lost too. So,
dude, I don't know, man. Both teams suck.
I guess I'll go UCF. I don't know. I'll go 31-27 UCF.
I don't know. I don't want to pick Arizona and then UCF wins. I don't. $21-20 UCF. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Last chance, Malzahn. Last chance.
Navy should beat Rice.
Yes. That bounce back.
I'll pick Arizona State to continue Oklahoma State's misery.
Sure, I'll go 31-20.
A&M, Carolina, Williams-Brice. Will A&M have the letdown?
Dude, it could happen. It could happen. I mean, imagine if South Carolina beat LSU and Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. This close. They have a shot.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it could happen? Do you think Elko's really changed the program?
This is a huge test for Elko, almost as big as the LSU test.
Yes. This is a tough one, man.
I'll trust Elko, man. I've picked Elko since that Notre Dame game. I'm gonna stick with them, but I'm not. I'll go 38-28, but
I'll go 28-27 Texas A&M.
mm-hmm.
I almost pulled it, Will. Thought about it. But South Carolina, you blew it against LSU, you blew it against Bama. You've had your chance. Third time might be the charm, but I'm going A&M. I'm going A&M.
And Louisville at Clemson.
You think Louisville has a shot? Have a shot.
Yeah.
But Death Valley.
Not in Clemson though. I don't think.
It's at Death Valley and it's at night.
Yeah, it's at the real Death Valley. It's at night.
LSU fans hate that. Both are Death Valley. It's funny. I don't know. Clemson's too tough to beat at night. I'll go 24.
I'll go
that many points. Clemson's actually given up a lot of points this year.
I'll go 38-27.
Wisconsin and Iowa, man. Oh gosh.
I usually just go whoever's at home.
A lot of the NBC night games are not very good, man.
It'll be close at least. This game's always close, it seems like. Yes, for the Citrus Bowl, but yes, that's a tradition. It seems like the winner of this game goes to that bowl.
Yeah, basically. The winner of above
Outback or Citrus usually, one of those two. Although they changed the name of the Outback Bowl, which stinks because that's a good name.
I love the Outback Bowl so much better. Yeah, yeah, it's a decent game, Hummus. It's just that like NBC's like the prime night slot, and there's just haven't been a lot of high profile games on NBC.
You know, I think Iowa actually has the better offense in this game, so I'm going to pick Iowa because of their offense. I'll go 21-14, Iowa.
24-17, Iowa.
And then
only because they're at home.
Is USC back? They're going to Husky Stadium. USC fans are excited. Ooh. Yeah.
Ooh. I like this game here. Man, I'm sorry, Tim. I'm pulling for Washington, man. I'm pulling for Washington. Gotta make IU look better.
Will Howard versus Miller Moss. It's a good quarterback matchup. Washington, both teams have been not consistent.
This is tough, man. USC's not very good, but Washington's not great either.
It's an even game, I feel like.
USC is more talent, but does that matter? At night, too, man. Husky Stadium at night, and they beat Michigan at night.
Yeah.
I'm going Washington 24-21. Washington.
I'll go Washington 31-28. Yeah.
If it wasn't at Washington and it wasn't at night, I'd go USC. But, man, it's Husky Stadium at night. That's different. It's different.
Mm-hmm. I just think that Washington, I don't know if they have better receivers, but I feel like I don't know.
Giles Jackson, Denzel Boston, some decent players. Giles Jackson only had 11 receiving yards against Indiana, which is hilarious. He was averaging like 80 yards a game. Any chance they're playing pretty bad.
Yeah.
I'll go Tennessee.
I'll go Tennessee 38-17. 7 maybe. I'll give Kentucky 1 touchdown. I still think they can move the ball.
34-14.
Yeah.
You think Pittsburgh gets exposed? Does Pittsburgh get exposed, man?
It's a fun game.
Yeah, it's a nice game right there. It's a nice little game. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Pitt's throwing versus SMU's running.
Thomas Hero said USC is just the smoldering remains of a long burned dumpster. I think Pitt's going to get exposed. I think Pitt's all right. I mean, I know they blew Syracuse out, but I just don't think they're a great team. I think they've had a very easy schedule and they've gotten by. I'll go with SMU to beat Pitt 31-24. I know SMU sucked last week, but I mean, 6 turnovers and you still won. They're not going to turn it over 6 times in this game. I'd be shocked. And if
you know what,
Pitt,
I'll go with Pitt. This might be a dumb pick, but I'll pick Pitt. I don't know. Eli Holston's played well.
That's true. I mean, the ex-Bama quarterback. I mean, it's kind of cool that they're having the season they are. I don't think they're as legit as.
I'll go 38-31 Pitt. Yeah, I'll go for it.
All right. It's a game I'll be watching since we picked opposite.
Yeah. TCU Baylor.
You know what, man? Dave Aranda's getting it together. He's getting it together. I'll go 28-24 Baylor.
There's no late games?
Yeah, I was shot, Will. I kept looking at it. I double take like 10 times. There's no late game. There's no 10 o'clock game.
What are we doing?
There's no after dark. There's no 12 o'clock, like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. There's no late game or 10 o'clock game. I'm shocked. I saw that too, man. I looked at it. I refreshed.
Is there like some sort of boxing fights that night? I don't know.
Must be. I don't know.
UFC pay-per-view was last weekend.
It's crazy.
This is a tough game.
Says it's the World Series window, which won't even happen.
Yeah, no, the Yankees have been crap.
Yeah.
I mean, did they avoid the sweep today? I don't know.
I have no clue. I have not been keeping up with baseball.
They're up 6-4, so they'll probably force a game 5.
It'd be dumb to have this window and no games.
There's not going to be a game. The Yankees haven't played well. I just trust Hoover more than I'll trust Hoover enough. I'm sorry, Scotty. I'll go with the Frogs.
I like Hoover too. I think he's really solid. I just think Baylor's starting to get it turned around and playing better. That's why I picked them. But I could see TCU winning.
Yeah. I'll go TCU 34-28. I could be wrong. All right. Well, this week's the moment of truth for James Franklin, man. I don't trust him at all.
Me neither, dude. I mean, I feel like James Franklin, he's like Neil Brown, but way better. You know what I'm saying? Like Neil Brown's the epitome of mid.
He's so similar to Brian Kelly.
James Franklin's like the epitome of we're good, but we're not great. You know what I'm saying? He's good. He wins games, but it's just not elite. And yeah, kind of like Brian Kelly. They're very similar. They just can't get over the hump to become top tier. That's why people count on them so much. I mean, they're not horrible coaches. They just can't win the big game. This is big for Penn State. How many chances they're going to get? Mm-hmm. I mean, that they really should win this year. Mm-hmm. But the QB situation, I don't know. It's not a night game. It should have been a night game. Honestly, wouldn't you prefer like Wisconsin, Iowa to be at noon and then Penn State, Ohio State to be at 9?
I don't know why. Fox should have freaking flexed it tonight if the World Series would be.
Yeah. It'd be so much better if that was the case. But it is what I'm hoping IU and stay undefeated, move to 9-0. I'm hoping Carolina can beat Florida State. Man, that would be embarrassing. It just would. And hopefully, all your guys' teams in chat have a good week. Absolutely. Will Penn State get it done? That is the question on everybody's mind. And also really appreciate the super chat from Jackson and Jim and all you guys in the comment section. You guys were awesome contributing to the show. Always appreciate it. You got any final thoughts, Will?
No, I mean, just wish there some late night games, but it's what it is, man.
Yeah, that sucks. I always like when there's like one game at like 10, 11 o'clock that's interesting that, sometimes you stay up for. I mean, you got to go to bed, but it's always fun watching the late games. But there will be late game next week, I'm sure.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for being here, everybody.